All right. Wow. All right. That was perfect. All right. So, thank you again to all of you for saying yes. We'd like to be our Bulldog ambassador here at BPS 101. As we get started tonight, I just want to set the stage. Most of the talking tonight will be done by Dr. Danny, but I just wanted to make sure I formally introduce myself to you in case you don't know who I am. I think many of you may have seen me in your buildings, I hope. And then as we move forward, we'll talk a little bit about why we're doing this. And once we're done with that, I turn it over to Dr. Danny. So first of all, my name is Tom Kim. I'm your superintendent of schools. I just started this July, so I'm new to the district. And one of the things why we're doing this, during my transition, I've talked to a lot of students, I've talked to a lot of teachers, I've talked to our administrators, and I've talked to a lot of parents. And during my first 6 months, everyone has expressed how much they love this district, how many good things are going on, but then also I've heard there are some things we can do to get better and be better, right? And so that's what we're going to focus on. That's why you're here today. So on January 8th, as you saw from my letter, we're going to be doing during the Institute Day the very first strategic plan. It's called a vision session. And you will be the ones leading the conversations with all of the employees in our district. Okay? And the reason why we're doing this is because I believe that you as students have the power to shape all of the teaching and learning that happens in this district. Usually, school districts hire a consulting group and they just come in and they do quick surveys and then they just kind of talk to different employee groups and maybe some student groups and parent groups, and then they just create a plan, give it to the administration, and then the process is done. And then the Board of Education sees it. Here, we're doing something a little different. I'm asking all of you to lead the process. I'm asking all of you to lead your rooms that you'll be facilitating. And we're going to help train you on what that's going to look like. But you are going to be the leaders in this process. Okay? When I interviewed for the job, I staked everything in my belief in students. That's always I've ever believed, is that students are our voices that we should be listening to. And I also believe students are our leaders in the school districts. All right? So when we talk about the strategic plan process, this is a quick overview of how the process is going to work. If you have not filled out the survey that was sent out, you have time. You can still do it through this week. I would encourage you to fill out that survey. It won't take you very long, but that's the first square you see at the very top, the first box. It's not square, it's a rectangle, right? Today, now we're doing that purple box, and that's the student training. And that's what you're doing tonight. This week, later, I have a steering committee meeting, and that's a select representative of each group that will be watching the work and holding us accountable and holding me accountable to make sure I follow the process I promised. There are 2 student reps that will be on the steering committee. Can my wonderful, amazing student ambassadors stand up, please, and so your peers know who you are. There you go. All right? So these are going to be our steering committee members, representatives. And then as you can see, it'll start to flow throughout the whole second semester. All right? Your commitments. Once I announce the February and March dates, I'll be reaching out and gathering which dates that all of you can commit to based on different stakeholder groups. I'll make sure they're manageable sizes. There's going to be a lot of flexibility in your ability to participate and lead the February and March dates. The biggest commitment that I need all of you to be able to do, as I mentioned in my letter, is January 8th and April 26th. All right? All right. So that's kind of the whole overview and the stage of everything we're going to do. All right? One of the final pieces I'm going to do to talk to you about tonight is the leadership. A lot of times in organizations, the directive leadership, the leadership on the right side of our slide, that is usually how a lot of organizations work. The leader comes in, they may do what I did, listen to people, get feedback on how things are going, and then they think about different ideas, and then they make a decision. And you take a look, they make everybody commit to that decision, and the resources behind that, and then you just keep moving forward and quickly. And if you notice at the very bottom row, on the bottom right-hand side, that is very fast and quick leadership impact. What you are all going to be doing, and what you're all asked to do, is the left. Right? And that's why your principals, that's why other leaders in the district, counselors, social workers, people that I leaned on to ask me for names of student leaders who they believe could do this, that's why you're here tonight. You were picked. Somebody in your building said that you can do this work. All right? So that should feel good for you. I hope you feel great about that. Someone in your building said, I want this student to be part of this work. All right? And so what's going to be required of you is to lead the room's discussion. So you will be the leader of that room. And we're going to talk about ground rules, about what that should look like in that room. You're the one that's going to control it. These are all the teachers, secretaries, principals, paraprofessionals, all the employees in our district. You're the ones leading them in that room. All right? And if you take a look at that process, you're going to be doing a lot of activities to get them to share ideas, but it'll be your job to stay on track, keep them on track, guide the conversation, watch the time, take the notes with them. It's going to be the whole process, and that's the facilitative leadership we're asking you to do. Right? Okay. As I mentioned, these are the dates, right? And then we'll be sending dates for February and March. As you can see, our training is being recorded tonight, and here's what's going to happen. We are going to email you the recording this week. So if you're ever wondering over winter break, like I don't exactly remember what they said about that one slide or that one part of the work we're supposed to do, you'll have the recording. Just go on your device and look at the video. You'll be able to scroll through it and remind yourself as to what you're supposed to be doing. All right? And then one of the things we do ask you to do before January 8th, please, over winter break, just take 30 minutes and refresh your memory on what this training was going over. Go through that video that we're going to email you, take a look, and remind yourself what you're supposed to be doing. All right? I'll also be sending you instructions, because on that January 8th, we're going to meet early. I'm going to feed you lunch, and then you'll get to go to your rooms, set up your rooms. You're going to be like teacher leaders, right? You're going to set up your rooms, set up the materials, and then you'll be ready to go. And then at 1 o'clock, all of our employees will be coming back from their lunch, and they'll be going straight to your room. And at 1 p.m., you go. It's your show. All right? Okay. So at this point, I'd like to turn it over to my dear friend, Dr. Danny, who's helping us with all of this work, and he's going to lead you through the training on what the sessions are going to look like.
Okay, I'm really excited that you're here today. When you're in front of a group of adults, you're going to have a Chromebook in front of you. Do you guys all have Chromebooks? That's what I thought. Okay, good, because we based this all on the idea that you had Chromebooks. You're going to have your Chromebook in front of you, and everything that you see on this slide deck up here is going to be on your Chromebook. We're going to send you a copy of it. We'll send it to you about a week in advance, so you can go through and read it. And each time you do it, it will be a little bit different. So it's really important that you look at it beforehand. But generally, the experience is going to feel the same every time. You're going to lead through the prompts on the slide deck. You're going to lead everybody through a process that's called an ORID conversation. The ORID stands for, the O is observational, the R is reflective, the I is interpretive, and the D is decisional. You're going to ask the adults that you're facilitating or the students that you're facilitating in your group to go through that type of experience. You'll see that as we go through today. This is a really good way to take a group of people who haven't spent a lot of time necessarily together or don't know each other. It's a good way for them to get together and process. And if you think about this is kind of how we process life. When we walk into a room, the first thing we do is we observe. We'll see something, we'll smell something, then we'll have some type of reaction to it, and eventually we decide what we want to do when we enter the room. So this is kind of how people's brains work, and this is what we're going to do to lead them through the process. The facilitation guide, the prompts, will explain everything that you need to do there, and it does it in a way that you'll all be able to do the same thing with everybody. You don't have to take any notes right now. I just want you to focus on experiencing what we're doing. Because all of this, we're just gonna email this to you when we send the video, okay? So just experience what happens today, because that's the experience that you're gonna be trying to create for other people. So to go through that word process, you're gonna lead your group, whether it's students or staff or community members, really through three things. First, they're gonna do some individual brainstorming. Then they're gonna go through as a small group and they're gonna share and prioritize. And then as a whole group, they're gonna share. And this is a really great way to bring people together that haven't worked together to get comfortable sharing their ideas. Because before we share our ideas with a big group, it's often easier to maybe just write down personally, do an individual brainstorm. And before we share ideas with a big group, it's often easier to share with a small group. So we're going to try to create a comfortable atmosphere as soon as we can and as quickly as possible with these groups. When you check in on the morning of the 8th and every other time that you facilitate, you're going to be given a set of resources. It might be in a folder or it might be in a bin, and each bin is going to have this stuff in it. It's going to have a bunch of sticky note pads. You guys can see those on your table. They're blue, pink, or orange, or maybe we got some greens. Those are the sticky pads. It's going to have 10 of those black markers, 10 copies of norms on colored paper. Those are green. 30 pieces of cardstock for nameplates. Those are the blue pieces of paper you wrote your name on when you came in. And then 30 pieces of paper for brainstorming lists. That's the white paper in front of you. And I also have written a timer or cell phone. I'm going to assume everybody has a cell phone. And if you don't have a cell phone in your group, then the person who's doing the timer, they can use their Chromebook and get online and just do an online stopwatch. So I'll probably edit that on the slide for today. So when you walk into your room, remember, you're going to see these slides. You're going to have them. We're going to send them to you. When you walk into your room, you're going to have to put out a few things. You're going to have some time at the beginning to set up. So there's an 8-part instruction sheet. That was that blue piece of paper that explained what to do when you came in, just how to put your name on it. There'll be an introduction prompt sheet. There'll be a topic title on Post-it for the first topic. And if you look back here, this is my pretend chalkboard or whiteboard, because we don't have those, right? So anytime I'm showing you what we're going to do, I'm going to be up here. And anytime I refer to the facilitation guide, I'm going to walk back over here, all right? So you're gonna start by having, see, this is the topic title. The first topic is teaching and learning. Then number 4 up there says the question prompt, what are the most important areas we can focus on to improve? I've got that on a blue Post-it note here. Then number 5 there is the facilitator's name card. And you saw that as you walked in. My name is Danny. I had a smiley face on it. Then there's also some things that you need to prepare and set aside for later use. So you're going to have 3 Post-it notes that say 3 things. One of them says 1 idea per card. One of them says write big. And the other one says 3 to 7 words like this. You're going to see those being used later, but you need to prepare those during your prep time and just set those aside. And then let's see, number 2 on the bottom says topic title on Post-its for later topics. So we got 3 topics. The first one's teaching and learning. We also need to have one that says facilities and one that says equity to the side. You don't have to remember any of that, because when you get this instruction slide deck, it's going to have just pictures of that. And you're going to all say, that's funny that it's on a table that's up on the wall, but you're going to remember that we were in this cafeteria and we did, okay? Let's see. So some things we need to figure out on your facilitation team, because most of our facilitation teams have at least 2 people. Whoever the high school student is on your facilitation team is going to be the main facilitator. And that person is going to provide instructions and answer any questions that your people have that you're leading. So if you're the high school student, just look around your group and make sure everybody knows that you're the high school student. If there are 2 high school students on the team, then you're going to figure out between the 2 of you how you're going to split these up. Then there are 2 other roles that need to be filled. If there are 3 people on your facilitation team, then you can split these up evenly. Most of the teams have 2 people. So the second person can do both role 2 and 3. Or as a high school student, if you're the main facilitator and you're a high school student, and you decide that you want to divvy it up differently, or you think everybody in your team might be more comfortable with different roles, you can figure that out. But the two roles, in addition to the main facilitator, we need a timekeeper. So as we go through today, you're going to see that some things say they need 5 minutes, some things say this slide has 2 minutes. Somebody's got to be keeping the time. You can do that on a cell phone or online through like an online stopwatch. And when the time is up for any given instruction, you're just going to raise your hand, and the facilitator is going to tell everybody at the beginning that when the timer raises their hand, everybody needs to stop talking and raise their hand. Okay? So we're going to practice that today. If I raise my hand, I want everybody to raise their hand and stop what they're saying. Okay? Let's practice. Hey, that's pretty good. We're pretty good at this. Okay. Okay, then the third role is the perspective giver. This person should prepare beforehand to share their own ideas. And when the perspective giver, when their turn comes up, you'll see that the instructions are highlighted in green. So you can prepare for this, and anytime there's a group discussion, that person, the perspective giver, goes first to be an example for everybody. Okay? So we're going to pretend that we're starting at 4:30, which is pretty close. That was a pretty good estimation of where we're going to start. And this is what each slide looks like in your facilitation guide. So at the top, on the left, it describes generally what's happening. And on the top, on the right, it tells you how long you should be on that slide and approximately at what time you should be moving on. So we're a little bit behind, but theoretically with this slide, it should take us about a minute for people to walk in and do all these things, and we should be able to get started at go on to the next slide at 4:31. Okay? So you'll notice on this slide, everything just looks like normal text. There are instructions on here that's just describing that when people walk in the room, invite them to take any open seat and to make a name card, and you should have your card displayed. As we move forward in the facilitation guide, you'll see some words that are bolded. Any word that's bolded, those are phrases that the facilitator should be saying out loud, and you should just read them word for word. Part of what we need to make sure we do with so many of these sessions that you're leading by so many people is we need to make sure that everybody has generally the same experience so that they can get the same type of feedback. So when something's in bold, our hope is that you'll just read that straight out of the facilitation guide. If something's not bold, it's just giving you or your team facilitators instructions on what to do. So for this one, it, for example, says, once all team members are seated, each facilitator should display the introduction prompt and introduce themselves. So, and then it gives in bold what I should say. Hello, my name is Danny. I'm a guest here today, and I graduated from high school a long time ago. I'm feeling really excited because I think this is great work, and I love that your superintendent wants you to participate in that. Our purpose for today is to provide input to guide the strategic plan for the school district. All groups will have an opportunity to provide input about our district's 3 focus areas: teaching and learning, equity and inclusion, and our facilities. Before we begin, I am going to ask everyone to introduce themselves. And then it says, it just describes what should happen next. Invite the team to follow the same prompts to introduce themselves, take turns around the room until everyone has introduced themselves, introduce the facilitator roles, and then explain that when the time is up, the timekeeper will raise their hand. Everyone should follow that example and raise their hand when they see that happen. So that's not in bold, so the facilitator can use their own words. As an example, theoretically we'd have everybody do it, but we've got a lot of people here today. So I'm just going to pick one table and have one table introduce themselves according to this. Does that work? Let's start with this table. Is that good? Let's see. And are you Joshua? All right, Joshua, why don't you stand up and introduce yourself to the whole group. Tell them your name and what grade you are in school and how you're feeling and why today. And then we'll go around this way. And this is just the model table. Theoretically, in your groups, when you're doing this with others, you're having everybody introduce themselves, okay?
My name is...
Speak loudly.
Hi, my name is Joshua Ramos. I'm a junior in high school. And today, I'm feeling excited to be here. I'm really happy to get a chance to you.
Thank you, Joshua. Yep, you're next.
My name is Levi Hoover. I'm in 5th grade in Timberwood. I feel like I'm pretty excited that I chosen this.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Hunter Mason. I'm in 12th grade or 11th grade, a junior, and I'm very excited and grateful for the opportunity to work with you all.
Hi, my name is Joseph. I am in 5th grade, and I am really excited to be here.
Thank you, Joseph.
Hi, I'm
Hi, my name is Emmett. I'm a senior in high school, and I'm really excited for this opportunity.
Hi, my name is Lennox. I'm a junior in high school, and I'm excited to be here.
My name is Israel, and I'm from Bulldog, and I'm happy to be here.
Great, thank you for doing that. We won't do that with everybody, but when you're in a room with a group and you're leading this, you have everybody go around and introduce themselves, okay? What questions do you have right now? Okay. So right now, this slide, how long should this slide take? 1 minute. And if we had started on time, about what time should I be moving on to the next slide? Perfect. And this is bold, so what do I do with that information? Exactly. Good, I'm reading it out loud. I'm saying it out loud. Okay. During today's session, this team will have the opportunity to do some individual thinking, small group conversation, and participate in a whole group conversation. I will provide you with prompts for each step in the process. So, this slide, how long should this slide take? 2 minutes. And when should we be moving on to the next one? 4:35. Perfect. So this part's bold. What am I doing with it? Good. If it's not bold, what is it? Just instructions. It's just kind of telling me what I do, okay? So I'll go ahead and keep reading. This session is being hosted in order to capture feedback that represents a variety of experiences and perspectives. All input is welcome. In order to promote an open discussion, the team will need to follow the norms. And then this just says, read the norms. So there are pieces of green paper on everybody's sheet, or everybody's table. And so I would, as the facilitator, I would read the norms. Point out that there are copies of norms on the colored piece of paper, green in this case, and I would go through and read them. The first one is respect. Treat everyone's opinions and ideas with respect, even if you disagree. The second is active listening. Listen actively without interrupting and avoid side conversations. And I would go through and read all 10 of those. And then I would come back up to the prompt here. Are there any additions or revisions to the norms that will support the team having a focused and productive discussion? If there are any, maybe somebody raises their hands and they say, I really think we should all drink strawberry milk when we're done with this together. You say, okay, anybody got any problems with that? Somebody might say, I really think we should be drinking avocado milk instead of strawberry milk. What does the group think of that? Everybody says avocado milk sounds good. We tell the group, write down everybody should drink avocado milk after the meeting. Okay? I've never seen any adults make changes to the list. Right? They always are okay with the list. But if they want to add something, if everybody in the room is okay with it, you can go ahead and add something. All right, so that's kind of the introduction that we give them. We're just trying to help them get acclimated with each other and with the group. Then we're going to go on to what's called the introductory conversation. Our first topic for today is teaching and learning. Okay, moving forward, guys, I'm going to ask everybody to twist and look at me up here. Sometimes I might jump to the back, and you can look at the back if you're wondering what I'm doing, but generally now you should know, because we went through those first couple slides, what the slides are telling you. On the top left, what does the slide tell you? Just ask me around. It's just kind of what's happening, what the slide is doing. On the top right, it gives you a number of minutes for the slide, and about what time you should be done with that slide. And if it's bold, what do you do with it? Say it out loud. Yeah, if it's not bold, it's instructions. Okay? So you should know what the slides have. They're going to be back there, so if you want to turn and look, but generally you're now, for the rest of the time, you're going to experience what everybody's going to experience when you're leading. So put yourself in my shoes, pretend like I'm you, and think about how you're going to do this. Know that anything I say is up there in bold already. You don't have to think of it. And know that there's going to be some people around you that can help with me. Okay? Our first topic for today is teaching and learning. We're going to start by thinking about your most successful moment in Batavia schools as a student. I'm going to go around the circle and ask each member to share a word, phrase, or image that stands out to you when you think of graduating from high school. All right, so we're not going to have everybody do this. We're going to have this group be our example group. All right? So this group table, now you got to really think about it. I'll start over, okay? We're going to start by thinking about your most successful moment in Batavia schools as a student. I'm going to go around the circle and ask each member to share a word, a phrase, or an image that stands out to you when you think of this successful moment. Okay? Let's see. Who wants to go first? I can see it. You're up. You're ready. Okay, we'll have him go first. Go ahead and stand up. You guys speak loudly so everybody can hear it, and then we'll go around the circle.
All right, so I went to Grace McWayne, and so
This is the final warning call for the RMS After School Activity Bus. That bus will depart in approximately 3 minutes and can wait for no one. If it is your plan to ride that bus home this afternoon, please have yourselves to make off this side of the building at this time. Thank you, and as always, thank you for choosing RMS for your after-school transportation needs.
All right, kick us off.
all right, so after you, like on the last day of school at Grace McWayne, they have this thing called a clap out, where basically everyone lines up outside of the classrooms. Your parents are there outside of the school. So you basically, like, you get out of your classroom, and basically you just walk through the school one last time before it's all over, and you move on to middle school. And I remember that my older sister, she was a freshman that year, and she was really encouraging about that. And I just feel just that when people are cheering for you, it's really encouraging.
Okay, so this is a perfect example. Stand up, buddy. Thank you. That was a great example. Okay, when you're doing this with a group, you're going to have 25 people, and you got to get through in 5 minutes. So the first 1 or 2 people, you might have to help model for everybody what it is. That's a good example. What I need you to do is come up with a word, phrase, or image that stands out to you when you think of that experience. Can you think of a word, a phrase, or an image?
Congratulations.
Congratulations. Perfect. So that's an example of a word. Let's see. We'll go next. Do you have a word, phrase, or image? You don't have to tell a story.
Mine would be welcoming, just to feel so welcoming.
Thank you. Welcoming. Remy? You can pass. So if you look in the notes, it says it's okay for a participant to ask. Okay, we're going to pass.
Like the graduation hat that you hope you
Graduation hat. Okay, cool. Active. Thank you. Pass. Okay. Helpful. Cool. Motivated. Pass. Pass. Okay, perfect. So that's the type of thing that you're doing with 25 people. All right. For my next question, anyone can answer at any time. What concerns or inspires you about teaching and learning in Batavia Public Schools? So the tips here say that the prospective giver goes first, whoever has that role. And this one, you're just letting anybody answer who wants to answer. Now, at the top of the slide, how long is this discussion supposed to take?
5 minutes.
5 minutes. Okay. Make 5 minutes. It might be that 1 or 2 people share, and then it gets quiet, and you're going to want to move on because nobody's saying anything. Just sit there. That's what the teachers do to you, right? If they really want you to answer something, they'll just sit there and wait until you answer. So make them answer. All right? So we want this to last the whole 5 minutes. And if there's a minute in the middle there where it's quiet, let them just think about it. Deal? Everybody good with that? Okay, so let's practice this one. What concerns or inspires you about teaching and learning in Batavia Public Schools? Anybody here? Just raise your hand. Yeah. Yeah, probably so everybody can hear you.
I'd say my peers inspire me to work hard in school and learn.
Great, good example. Thank you. Who else? Yeah.
Concerned as a motivation during finals week.
Got it. Okay. Timely. Yes, thank you.
My family inspired.
Great, family inspires you. Great example. Yes. Your friends inspire you. Great, good example. Yeah.
I would say family, friends, and teachers push you through.
Good. Family, friends, and teachers push you through. Yes. Say that again. Your brother. Great. Good example. Yes.
One thing that concerns me is that the middle school textbooks are really out of date.
Okay, middle school textbooks are out of date. Thank you. Yeah.
My friends inspired me
Got it. Thank you very much.
Like being able to see my friends succeed.
Good. Seeing your friends succeed. Thank you. Yeah.
Having like a specific teacher really believe in you.
Good. Specific teacher really believe in you. Anybody?
My mother.
Oh, good. Good. Yeah.
One thing that concerns me is traditional learning environments, not flexible.
Okay. Yeah.
I'd say the fine arts programs here like encourage a lot of creativity among students.
Great. Good example. Yeah. Okay.
I'd say it's inspiring to see athletes accomplish their goals.
Good. Thank you. Yes. School lunch. Okay, that's good. Yeah. Okay, we got a second vote for school lunch.
One thing that inspires is probably something like just something happy, especially the adults are
Got it.
positive.
Great example. Thank you. Good. I said people around the building that love their job. We'll go one here and then two there.
Something that concerns me is the time crunch with AP classes and block schedules.
Time crunch with AP schedules and block scheduling. I'm repeating just because it's a big room and we got the fan over there. You don't necessarily need to repeat people. You'll be in a smaller room probably.
What concerns me is actually failing a test.
Failing the test. Yeah, that is concerning, kind of stressful. Yeah.
Bullying.
Bullying. Thank you. Okay, I'm going to move on. The facilitator tips here say you just kind of shift around the room, and you want, as a facilitator, the main facilitator should try to intervene to make sure that someone isn't limiting other people's conversations by kind of taking over. Or if they see somebody that might look like they want to say something, but they aren't sure if they want to raise their hand, go ahead and say, did you want to say something? Okay? Let's see. There is a third discussion prompt here. It's the same as the last one in terms of process. And it's just for my next question. Anyone may answer at any time. Why is teaching and learning important in Batavia Public Schools? And we're going to skip this question because that will put us right on time. All right, just for the training purposes. But this question is the same as the last one. I would note the questions are going to change. All right, so this guide was put together for this experience. And the questions will change because we're not going to ask teachers necessarily the same questions that we're asking you today. And when you facilitate with students, we're not going to ask them the same questions that we ask the teachers. And if we meet with your parents, we're not going to ask the same questions we asked you. So the questions will change, but the process will be the same. So this today is to help you be comfortable with the process and remind you that you need to make sure you look at your facilitation guide when you get it before that day, okay? All right, let's see. So the work of the group today is to identify options for what the school district can do to improve teaching and learning. We're going to do this by responding to the following prompt. And it says I should post this up here. Our prompt is, what are the most important areas we can focus on to improve teaching and learning? You each have a white piece of paper at your seat that you will use for your stuff. I will give you 2 minutes to do some personal, quiet brainstorming about responses to the prompt on the board, right here. Your job is to come up with as many ideas as you can in the 2 minutes by making a list on your white piece of paper. So an example of something that might be on the paper could be more student help. What questions do you have? Okay, so you have the next 2 minutes to write down as many ideas as you can. On your mark, set, go. Okay, I'm raising my hand. Okay, I want you to take a moment to start up to 5. 3 to 5 items on your list that are most important to you. If you only have 3 to 5, you can star them all. Let's start 3 to 5 items on your list that are most important to you. Okay, we are going to shift from individual brainstorming to small group sharing. Our small groups are going to be groups of 3. That's what the prompt says for me to say. When you're facilitating a group, that's what you want to do. You want to do groups of 3. But what I'm going to have you do today is split your table in half. So that means that you probably have groups of like 3 to 6, or 3, maybe 5, 4 or 5 to 6. Right, so wherever the table divides, that's going to be your divider for your group. So that's your small group. With the big groups, or when you're with teachers, you're going to tell them that our small groups are going to be groups of 3. You're going to have time to share the list of items you start with one another, just the items you start. Remember, you have norms on the colored paper. You have 3 minutes to share with your small group what your start items are. And when I need your attention back, I will raise my hand. What questions do you have? Okay, you have 3 minutes to share and discuss with your small group your start items. On your mark, set, go. Okay, I'm raising my hand. Okay, I am so proud of you. If you think about what you guys just did, you talked about what's a pretty important topic for a school district. You were able to quickly get into conversation with your peers. Some of your peers are way older than you, some of them are way younger than you. And one of the reasons you're able to do that is because we created a safe environment for you to talk. We did that by letting you get to know each other a little bit. We did that by having some conversations about topics. Initially, everybody kind of had to share. And then we let people share that were comfortable sharing. Then we did some individual brainstorming where you were able to just write down any ideas you had without worrying about what other people saw. Then we let you star the things that were most important, and that gave you the confidence to share with your group your start items. It's a very different experience to share after having gone through all those steps than it is if we were to just throw you on a room and say, what do you think we should do different? Okay, so that's the type of experience that you're trying to build. It's an experience where everybody feels comfortable to share. So good job modeling that. The next step is for each small group to develop 4 to 5 post-its that they will share with the whole group. When you develop your cards, you must do the following. You must write big. You must put one idea per card. And you must write 3 to 7 words like this on each card. Let's see. So here is an example of what an answer might be. So a card might be as simple as more student help. You'll have 3 minutes to develop your post-its for what you think are the most important and impactful areas for Batavia Public Schools to focus on to answer this question. What are the most important areas we can focus on to improve teaching and learning? What questions do you have? Yeah. How many cards? You're looking for 4 to 5 post-its. No, it's okay. Good question. You're doing 4 to 5. You're going to have 3 minutes. I'm going to raise my hand when I'm done. And your rules for how you can write your post-its are in the green cards up there. On your mark, set, go. All right, super good ideas already. Your superintendent was like, this is amazing. I want to keep all of these because it's helping me understand what the students are thinking and the experience they have at school every day. So you're doing really good work. So I just want to point out on the facilitator guide at the bottom, it says, as teams work, circulate from group to group, checking they are clear on their task and are making progress. That just means that you've done this before. You know what it should look like, what people should be doing. So you can just be walking around, and if the teachers aren't following directions, you can remind them of the directions. The most common direction that they don't follow is that they don't write 3 to 7 words. They'll write like 15 words, which means they can't write big. All right, so if you see them writing small and their sentences get long, just say, hey, remember the rules. Write big, one idea per card, 3 to 7 words like this per card. Okay? Any questions that you have right now? All right, so our next step is going to be to share. So the instructions say I'm going to identify a group to share first. It could be volunteers, or I could call on a group. The group should read their post-its and put them on the board. They should not spend time explaining the cards. After each team shares all their post-its, ask the whole group, does anyone have any clarifying questions about what any post-it means? All right, so I'm going to start with, let's see, can we start with you guys here? So why don't you have someone from your group come up? And you're going to come up to our board. I don't know what your room's going to look like. They're all going to be a little bit different. So when you set up your room, you're going to have to figure out where this is going to happen. Coming up, Kush. It's probably on the whiteboard. So Kush is going to just read each card to you, and then he's going to put it on the whiteboard.
Better school lunch. More welcoming environment. Less work outside of school. And teacher to student communication.
All right, stay up here with us, Kush. Yeah. All right, does anyone have any clarifying questions about what any of his post-it notes mean? Yes, we have a question. Student-teacher communication.
Basically, like teachers understanding like students' needs and like catering to their classroom-specific needs rather than like teaching kind of like their understanding.
Thank you. Does that answer your question? Any other clarifying questions? Yep.
What do you mean, like, specifically by, like, better school lunch?
I guess the students that basically have regular high school lunch, they believe that there should be better options for.
Does that help?
Yep.
Any other clarifications? Yes. Let's work outside of school.
I guess just like having like specific like work time rather than kind of like the teacher like teaching all throughout the block and then having like making you do all the work outside of school, especially for those who are like in other activities outside of school that won't have as much time.
Good. Now what's happening now is great. You're asking clarifying questions. What we don't want is to have discussion. So if he says something, you just say, does that answer your question? That's it. Nobody's allowed to say, I don't agree with that, or I want to talk about that more. We're just sharing what's on the post-it notes, and then we're moving on. All right, so everybody thank him. Thank you, Kush. All right, do I have another group to volunteer their ideas? All right, we got two back here. Let's have you both go up. Well, let's have one of us up here first to go first. Things going first.
Okay, my group said comfortable and welcoming places, or like classrooms. We said more help for special ed classrooms. We said healthier foods in the school lunches. More help, so like clear instruction from the teachers. And then more structured and consistent discipline.
Great. Now let's pause. Does anybody have any clarifying questions about what any of the post-its mean? Yep, go on here. What types of healthy foods did you have in mind?
We didn't name any specifically. I think we were talking more about like the actual main like dishes that are given out like free of charge, making those more.
Thank you. Does that answer your question? Any other clarifying questions? Yep.
How would you make a place more comfortable?
I think teachers would have to go through like a specific training for that. That way it's like consistent. But I think there's things physically you can do in a classroom to make it more welcoming.
Thank you. Does that help? Any other clarifying questions? All right. Thank you very much, team. All right, moving on.
Decorate classrooms, stimulus. We said more brain breaks, prioritize learning methods, schedule management, and supplemental study resources.
Okay, thank you. Let's see, does anybody have any clarifying questions on any of those items? Yes? Brain breaks. Can you explain
Basically,
brain
like, I don't want to say on your phone, but like stop your work for like a short amount of period of time during class.
Okay, thank you. Yes? Schedule. Management, yes, yes.
Like teachers can prioritize students to be able to like have class time instead of like teaching the whole period like I said before, and then actually so they can have the proper help that they need.
Okay, thank you. Yes?
And when you say prioritize learning methods, is that like offering learning methods to the class or like choose one of them?
Can you talk louder?
Yeah, what you said.
When you say prioritize learning methods, do you mean like offering like a wide variety of learning options, like inclusive visual?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Okay, this is the output. This is what you're trying to get to, and I'm going to show you how you're going to capture that. So the strategic plan steering team can get all this information. When you're with your group and you're doing the facilitation, every post-it note ends up on the board, and everybody gets to hear what the other people were saying. That's to just have some sharing and some group acknowledgement of the learning that's happened. Now we've got two up here that are kind of repeats. We've got better school lunch and more healthy foods. That's okay. If it ends up twice up here, that means it was maybe twice as important. We should give it some extra attention. And the steering team is going to know, hey, we actually had that topic twice. All right, so after everybody's shared, in our example, you're done. That's it. Now, so I would read, after today, your input will be analyzed to identify trends. Those trends will be shared with you, and families will have the opportunity to provide feedback before the steering committee reviews our work. The key trends will inform our work at the next session. Thank you for your participation today. And then if you want to do any other celebrating, like you guys did a really good job, or you were a really fun group, you could say anything like that, and then you would dismiss the group. Now, here's the things that I need you to know before I dismiss you, all right? First of all, your experience is going to be longer, all right? This is for the training today. We just did one topic. We just did teaching and learning. You're going to do teaching and learning, but then you're also going to do diversity and equity, and you're also going to do facilities. Am I getting that right? Is that right? So you're going to do this, you're going to cycle through it multiple times, what you just did. You need to keep these up on the board, because when it's all done, you're going to help us record and capture all this information. So you'll need a spot on the wall somewhere to do teaching and learning, and all the post-it notes for teaching and learning. Then somewhere else in the room or a different part of the whiteboard, you're going to have diversity and equity. And then on another whiteboard or a different part of the room, you're going to have the facilities section. And you're going to have post-it notes for all of those, okay? On the facilitation guide, when it says dismiss the group, there's a dark slide. It's just a blank slide. So if you hit the next slide as people were walking out, they just see a blank page. After that is where part of your responsibility is also to record all of the responses. And I'm going to show you how that works. So on your Chromebook, you can do this as a team. You can divvy this up. One person could take diversity. One person could take teaching and learning. You're going to click where it says after the team departs, record the cards on the board here. You're going to click on that, and it's going to bring you up to Google Sheets. And let's see. So as an example here, our strand that we did today was teaching and learning. We were in room was the cafeteria, and your facilitator was Dr. Dan. Let's see, for post-its we've got, I'm just going to read some of these. Better school lunch. Don't worry about your spelling. Nobody's going to see this except for like 7 or 8. Less work outside of school, more welcoming environment. Teacher to student communication. More healthy foods in the district. More structured and consistent discipline. Brain breaks. I just write every single part down. I write it down exactly as it's written here. If they spell wrong here, I spell wrong there. You don't have to spell things wrong. But you shouldn't rephrase or rewrite things. You do it exactly as they said. And you're going to have a column for each of your areas. So this is a column for teaching and learning. You can split it up as a group. So somebody could do the equity and diversity, and someone could do the facilities. And then you're just putting your names down there. We need you to capture all those cards before you leave the room because we need all that information. The whole point of getting them together was to collect their ideas and their voices so that your superintendent and his team can go through that. And they're going to find what the themes and patterns are. So if everybody says, let me say it a different way. If like 3 people in the school district say we really want strawberry milk, and they're really passionate about strawberry milk, your superintendent can say to those 3 people, hey, I understand that strawberry milk is really important to you, but most people were not interested in strawberry milk. But if like lots of people are saying we need avocado milk, then your superintendent's going to have to say, hey, we probably should look at our avocado milk options because lots of people are talking about avocado milk. All right, so this helps him and his team identify strawberry milk or avocado milk because he's going to get so many voices in here, not only of staff, but of students, like parents and community members. When you're done putting all those into the spreadsheet, you're just going to collect all these. You're just going to take them off the wall. You're going to put them back in the bin or the folder. You're going to put all the materials that are in the room back in the folder or the bin because we want to leave the classrooms in the way we came in for those teachers because they got to teach the next day. So it'll have your markers, your papers, let's see, card stock, any pens that are in there. All that materials have to come out of the room. And don't throw these away, all right? We're going to throw them away, but if you throw them away, people that participated might think, they might see it in the garbage can and they'll think, oh, they didn't even do anything with the information that I gave them. They won't know that you typed it all into a Google Sheet, so don't throw them away. Bring it, put it in the box or the bin or the folder, and then let your superintendent's team figure out where to put them. Does that make sense? All right, what questions do you have? Okay, I am really proud of you. You guys came up with really good ideas. I hope that you understand the role that you'll play. We'll get you a copy of this facilitation guide as a trainer. But the final facilitation guide for that January 8th session will be different. We'll send that to you about a week before. So you're going to have to look at it over break. And then every time you're facilitating a session, you'll get that copy about a week before. So spend about half an hour going through it so you make sure that you understand the questions and the activities. Sound good? Okay, I'll hand you the time back.
Okay, everybody, that was your training. What we're going to do is over break. If you have at any point questions, you need reminders, you're going to say, oh, Mr. Kim, I'm not sure on one of those slides when we did the activity with Dr. Danny, do you mind refreshing my memory? If you reach out to me and email me, I will jump onto a Google call with you during break and we can review anything we've gone over today, okay? Here's the best part about what we just did tonight and the way we've got this all structured. You're going to be a team. Everybody in the room has a partner. None of you are alone in the work. On the day of January 8th, I will be walking up and down the hallway checking on you. If there's a problem in your room, all you got to do is step out of your room, flag me down, and I will come to your room and help you out with whatever's going on. So the biggest thing, I don't want anyone to be like, oh my gosh, we got all these adults in the room. Don't worry about it. I've got your back just like you've got my back with this work, okay? Watching you tonight is so inspirational to me, seeing everything you all were doing together. And in your own teams already, you guys were helping each other. I mean, this is a plan that's coming together. It's going to be beautiful, and I'm so excited to see you all do this. All right? So, before we adjourn for the evening, and before I give you final instructions with the materials on your table, does anybody have any questions about anything we talked about tonight? Any questions about anything that was in my letter or my invitation? Yes? Great question, thank you. So here's what I'm gonna do. At 11:30, I will have lunch ready at the high school for you. Show up at 11:30 to eat, grab your room folders that'll have all of your materials, and then right around noon, I'm gonna have you go to your rooms in the C wing and start setting up your rooms, okay? And once your rooms are all set up, you got your materials and you're all ready to go, just sit back and wait for everybody to show up in your room, and then at 1 p.m., you start right on the 1 p.m. exact, okay? All right, yes?
First of all, how big is the room generally going to be?
Great question. The question is, how big will the room be? These are all traditional classrooms, so all these classrooms can fit anywhere between 30 to 35 students. So it's a regular classroom size.
Also, you said that we're going to present to all of the employees in our district.
So everybody on January 8th that will be in the rooms are all of our employees. So you will have 27, 28 employees in your room, but then everybody else in here has another set of employees in our district. Yep. So on the 8th, everyone we're working with are employees of our district.
Will be according to your school?
No. The rooms are going to, that's a great question. The rooms are going to be all mixed up of employees from this district from all different schools in our district. All 8 schools and the district office. So we're mixing in everybody. Yes. Yes. So great reminder. Today, your teams at your table islands, the group of 2 or 1 other person you're paired with, that is your facilitator partner on that day. Yeah? So tonight, you just simulated the activity with the same person or people that you will be doing this on January 8th. Okay. Good questions. Any other questions? Yes?
I'm sure it like says it on the slide somewhere, but when we're like doing this activity where we like write down the post-its, like are the facilitators going to be like working in a group together, or like?
You as facilitators will monitor your room.
Okay.
So you're someone, so that you're actually leading me to the great next point. With your partners here tonight, the way we've structured it is the older student, the older peer, is the one that will be facilitating the conversations, reading some of the bolded things. The younger student leader partner will be doing all the example providing and timekeeping, and then you guys can work together on anything else that you need to fill in, but that way you both have roles. Okay? So the example would be when Dr. Danny at certain points gave some examples of what our prompt meant by what are some improvements in teaching and learning you want to see. Younger student, younger peer, you can be the one that says, here is an example of what this means.
And those examples are highlighted in green on the facilitation guide all the time.
Great questions. What else do you have? All right. Final reminders. This video of tonight's training will be sent to you. The facilitation guides will be sent to you. Reminders about January 8th, what time to show up, what that day will look like, I will be sending that to you as well. I will send everything to you. Do not forget, if you're unsure or have forgotten about anything, you can reach out to me and we'll jump on a Google Meet call together over break and I'll review anything you want. Okay? All right. No other questions then? Yes, so you will be sent these rosters as well. Every single one of you are going to get all the information. There are no secrets here. This is like taking a test with notes and the answers. All right, so this is all set up for you to succeed. You will get to see all the employees that are going to be in your room, because on that day, you're going to make sure as they come in, you got everybody, and then you get started. Okay? All right. All right, then any other questions? Anybody else? Any hands? No? Oh my, we are 4 minutes early. All right, because I said 5:30, right? So as you depart, first thing, if you could just stack up all your materials, like all the different papers and everything, stack them up. You can take your name tags if you'd like to take your name tags. But we'll have you do this again in January, so go ahead and tag everything. And then last but not least, everybody, give yourselves a round of applause. Thank you. You've been awesome tonight. Nice job.